This is your Barbados Today Morning News Update for Monday, May 22nd. Thanks for joining us. I am Fernella Wedderburn. The Central Bank of Barbados has evolved and transformed in the face of tough financial challenges. And Prime Minister Frondell Stewart said not only did the island's premier financial institution weather those challenges on the external front, but internally as well. Mr. Stewart made the comments during the bank's awards and gala held at the Concord Experience over the weekend, where he lauded the institution for what he said was 45 years of outstanding service, especially given the financial pressures over the last 20 years.
The scourge of drug trafficking and international terrorism has led governments and international financial institutions to fight drug trafficking and terrorism through anti-money laundering and counter-terrorism financing strategies. This has resulted in another layer of financial regulation, often facilitated by the central bank. As the international financial architecture has been forced to change in response to crisis after crisis, central banks have been called upon to transform themselves in response to such crises. The Central Bank of Barbados has evolved and transformed itself seamlessly when required so to do by changed objective conditions in the national, regional, or international financial environment.
Opposition Barbados Labour Party MP for St. James North, Edmund Hinkson, has expressed concerns over the amount of pressure being placed on non-profit foundations. He told those in attendance at the Clarkson Foundation fundraiser at the Apes Hill Country Club over the weekend that such organizations faced the heavy burden of declaring financial information and some stifling restrictions.
A lot of financial demands and paperwork are being placed on non-profit companies now and foundations. Imposed a bit, of course, by entities outside of Barbados in terms of money laundering, etc. I believe that some of the restrictions are too tight. They want to know for the directors really and truly a lot of information, financial information, and largely, of course, these are companies, non-profit companies that are trying to advance the cause, and maybe we have too many restrictions in terms of the establishment and the future progress of foundations and non-profit companies. But that is how the system is working and how the world is working.
There is no room for complacency when it comes to Barbados's bread and butter industry. So says Chairman of the Barbados Hotel and Tourism Association, Roseanne Myers, in her address to the second annual Sandals Prestige Awards ceremony over the weekend. The tourism product, she said, has done reasonably well despite the worrisome economic challenges facing the country. But she told hotel employees they must look at the bigger picture as they continue to promote the island as the ideal tourist destination.
At the end of the day, are we really as good as we think we are? And I think that it is very important, because Sandals does an extremely good job, that your heads don't get so big that you don't look around, even in Barbados, to see who is doing whatever better than you're doing. I don't know how many people really spend time doing staycations and going out into other properties, because you may be very surprised that some of the things that you're doing, you think you're doing excellently, other people are doing better. You have kept ahead of the pack because you keep innovating.
Lawmen are still on the hunt for the gunman responsible for Friday night's shooting. The incident has left 18-year-old DeMarco Cumberbatch of Eden Lodge nursing a gunshot wound to the abdomen. Police said Cumberbatch was walking through a track when he was approached by a man who shot him and fled. He was transported to the Queen Elizabeth Hospital by ambulance for medical treatment. Police are asking anyone who can provide information to assist them with this investigation to contact the nearest police station, Crime Stoppers, or police emergency number 211.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
When it comes to your family, what do you dream of? Enjoying the sights of Italy, seeing the Eiffel Tower for the first time, or experiencing the cuisine of Spain? Courts can make your family dream come true. Shop at Courts for a chance to win a dream cruise for a family of 4. Spend $999 or over at any Court store or online at shopcourts.com. Every $100 gets you a chance to win that cruise to give you more fun time with your family by cruising the Mediterranean, a value of over $20,000. So stop dreaming and start shopping to make your dream come true at Courts, bringing value home.
We pick up with the latest out of Bermuda, where the island's premier says he is not at all surprised by the motion of no confidence tabled by the opposition against his government. The motion was laid after 2 bills brought by the opposition Progressive Labour Party were passed in the House of Assembly on Friday evening. A BLP spokesman said 2 One Bermuda Alliance MPs voted against their party, and this showed that the government no longer has control of Parliament. In response, Premier Michael Dunkley says the motion will be dealt with in the appropriate way.
With the bold announcements of an election date by the opposition leader a couple of weeks ago, we suspected that there might be something on the table. So we will deal with it in the appropriate way. This government stands very proudly on our record. Yeah, with the first 3 or 4 years, it was tough sledding for us because we took over in a very difficult position. But we'll stand up, we'll deal with that motion. We've made tremendous progress, and unlike the opposition who think that the sky continues to fall every day, we've made solid progress, and we do care for the people. Every decision we make is around pulling our people forward together, and we'll continue to do that work.
Over in Venezuela, the death toll rises as anti-government protests continue. A university student died from a gunshot wound over the weekend, bringing the number killed in recent protests to 48, while reports say a 21-year-old man was set on fire by protesters as the country marked the 50th day of demonstrations. And finally, U.S. President Donald Trump yesterday urged Saudi Arabia and other Middle Eastern countries to extinguish what he called Islamic extremism coming from the region. He made the comments during his 2-day visit to Saudi Arabia, his first overseas trip since his January swearing in.
America is prepared to stand with you in pursuit of shared interests and common security. But the nations of the Middle East cannot wait for American power to crush this enemy for them. The nations of the Middle East will have to decide what kind of future they want for themselves, for their country, and frankly, for their families and for their children. It's a choice between 2 futures, and it is a choice America cannot make for you. A better future is only possible if your nations drive out the terrorists and drive out the extremists. Drive them out. Drive them out of your places of worship. Drive them out of your communities. Drive them out of your holy land. And drive them out of this earth.
And that's news and sports, but there's more on our website at www.barbadostoday.be. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook. We're also on Izumi Media and bus terminals and screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you, or you can tune into Mix 96.9 FM for the very latest. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. Good morning.